and welcome to this short little yoga reset. We are going to start seated, ideally kneeling, but if kneeling is not available, come down to any comfortable seated position that works for you. So we'll find ourselves here on our mat. We're going to take a moment to check in and ground, ready for our short little reset. We want to lift up from the base of the spine, keeping the spine nice and long. We want to keep the shoulders low, maybe give them a little bit of a roll out there. And then when we're happy with our position, we either want to lower the gaze down to the mat, excuse me, or close off the eyes if we feel totally comfortable with that. So from here, we're going to spend a moment just preparing for our practice. We're going to take our awareness to the external noises that we may be able to hear. Noticing the temperature of the room that you're in and how that feels against your skin. Take a moment to check in and notice how your body feels sitting or kneeling against your mat. Paying particular attention to all those parts that come into contact with the earth. Maybe taking a quick little body scan, starting from those all-important toes, through to the knees and the hips, lifting up through the spine, softening through the shoulders, softening through the face. And then allow your focus to land on your breath. And we're not changing anything, we're just observing. Noticing the gentle inhalation and exhalation. Where does your breath land as you breathe in? And then we'll very gently flutter open the eyes. We're going to start with a big inhale, sweeping the hands all the way up, taking them up to the sky, coming into Anjali Mudra, bringing the left and right side together into balance. Maybe we can take the gaze up to the thumbs, but most importantly, we want to lengthen up through both sides of the waist, through the spine. And as we exhale, we want to bring the hands down to the heart center. Inhaling, sweeping the hands all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, sweeping the hands all the way up. Hands to heart center as we exhale. And then bring the hands behind us, interlace the fingers, bring the palms, the elbows, the shoulders together. And on an inhale, we want to lift through the heart space, opening up through the chest, pushing the knuckles down towards the ground. Maybe we can take the gaze all the way up to the sky, but only if your neck allows. And it feels comfortable. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms to rest on the left side of the waist. And then we're going to take our right ear down to the right shoulder, just enjoying this stretch through the neck, the left shoulder. Taking those slow, steady breaths in. Slow, steady breaths out. And then with your next inhale, we're going to take the hands back down towards the ground, opening up through the heart center, lifting through the chest. Maybe there's a very slight curve through the spine. And then with your next exhale, we're going to bring the hands to rest on the right side of the waist this time. And then very gently taking the left ear over to the left shoulder. Feeling into that stretch through the neck and across the top of the right shoulder. Making sure that the ribs don't sort of flare out. Keeping the tummy pulled in nice and tight. And then with your next inhale, we're going to bring those hands for one final time back down to towards the earth, opening up through the heart. Big breath in. Maybe there's a sigh out. And then we'll slowly release. We'll give those shoulders a bit of a roll out. We'll bring the fingertips to rest on the shoulders and make some big circles. And it doesn't matter which direction you go in, we'll go both ways. So we'll do 3 in one direction and then 3 in the other direction. And then from here, we're going to keep the left fingertips on the shoulder, bring the elbow up to the sky, and take the right fingertips over to the left elbow and find a stretch through the back of the left tricep, the back of the arm. Maybe we can find a slight movement over towards the right. Again, just making sure that our chest isn't rolling out. We're keeping everything into the centre, keeping that core nice and strong, engaging our bandhas, Uddiyana bandha, lifting the pelvic floor, Mula bandha, breathing into this stretch. And then we're going to extend the left fingertips all the way up to the sky, taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand, and on an exhale, come into a very gentle side bend. And we want to send the breath into the side of the left body where we've created that space. And then with an inhale, we'll come back to centre. We'll bring those right fingertips to rest on the right shoulder blade, left fingertips to the elbow, and find that nice tricep stretch. Focusing on those nice slow deep breaths. And then we'll extend that right hand up to the sky, taking the fingers all the way up, taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand, and on an exhale coming into that side bend, breathing into the right side of the body. And then with an exhale, we'll release, we'll bring the hands all the way down, lifting up through the spine, maybe finding a little bit of a free movement. Taking a moment here to notice how we feel just at this very early stage of our practice. And then we'll slowly walk our hands forward. So we're coming into our tabletop. And we want to find some space between the fingers and thumbs and knees sort of underneath the hips. And we're going to start by making some big circles. So coming into those circles, closing off the eyes. And then see about making those circles in the other direction. And then we'll come back into our stillness, find our tabletop. We're going to extend our right leg out behind us or parallel with the ground. And then once we've found our balance, see if we can extend the left arm. And with an exhale, we're going to bring the little finger and the toes down to the ground. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lowering. Inhale, lift. Bring the hand all the way down to the ground. We're going to take our right foot over towards the left side. Pop the toes down on the ground, feeling into the stretch through the right side of the body, and then perhaps we can take the gaze over the left shoulder towards the left heel, remembering to keep that tummy pulled in, the pelvic floor lifted, the breath flowing freely. And then we'll slowly bring this right foot all the way back and we'll pop the knee down. Taking a few cat-cows here, a little bit of a reset, bumping the hips. So as we inhale, we'll shine the heart forward. And as we exhale, we'll round through the spine, pulling that tummy up, taking the gaze to the knees. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to round. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, rounding. Coming back to our static tabletop, we're going to inhale and extend the left leg out parallel to the ground. When we found our balance and our focal point, our drishti, we're going to see if we can extend our right hand out in front. And as we exhale, we're going to pop that hand down, the little finger, the toe, and as we inhale, we're going to lift. Exhaling, lowering. Inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, lowering. Inhaling, lifting. Last one, exhaling, lowering. Inhaling, lifting. And we're going to pop that right hand back down on the ground, keeping this left leg lifted, keeping that tummy pulled in, and then slowly take the left foot over to the right side. Popping the toes down on the ground, enjoying the stretch through the left side of the body. And then perhaps we can take the gaze over the right shoulder, towards the heel. And then with an inhale, we'll slowly bring that leg all the way back. We'll pop the knee down on the ground. We'll bring the big toes to touch, take the knees nice and wide and come back into a balasana, into our child's pose. So bringing the forehead down to the ground. Maybe there's a little rock side to side along the forehead. Sinking the hips a little bit deeper. Taking full breaths in, filling up the lower back, the sides of the waist. And then with an inhale, we're going to slowly peel ourselves up into our tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes and come into our first downward facing dog. So with an inhale, we want to lift up that lower tummy, lift the knees off the ground, hover about an inch off the ground for a breath or two. And then with your next exhale, we're going to send the bottom back into downward facing dog. Now we're looking for a really lovely long back. So if that's difficult, if that's not accessible, bend deeply into the knees. So we're bringing the tummy towards the thighs and find that lengthening all the way from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Deep breath in, sigh out. And then we'll start to walk out the dog. We'll start to bend into each heel, into each knee. I'm eating my necklace, so I shall move that out the way. Maybe there's a little bit of hip movement if that feels nice. Remembering all the while to keep breathing. And then from here, with your next inhale, we're going to slowly float the right leg up, coming into our three-legged dog. And as we exhale, we're going to bend that right knee, bring it through the center and pop the right foot in between the hands. We're going to drop this left knee down to the ground, untuck the toes, and with an inhale, we're going to sweep the hands up and back, lifting up, seeing if we can sink a little bit deeper into that hip. Deep breath in, slow breath out. And then with your next exhale, we're going to bring the hands all the way down to the ground. We're going to pivot back onto this left knee, coming into half split. So keep a little micro bend in the knee, and I would never recommend locking any joints ever. Bring the toes up towards the sky. That should sort of intensify this stretch down the hamstring. And then if you are okay where you are, this might be where you are today, and that's absolutely perfectly okay. Or you might want to come into a little bit more of a forward fold. So as we inhale, we want to tilt the pelvis, lengthen through the spine. Maybe there's a little bit of a forward fold. Breathing here. And then as we inhale, we're going to bend forward into this right knee, sweeping the hands all the way up, coming into our low lunge. Few breaths here. Exhale, bring the arms all the way back down to the ground, pivot back into our half split. Exhale, maybe there's a little bit of a forward fold. Inhaling, coming back into our low lunge, sweeping the hands all the way up. Embracing all the wobbles. And if you're not in this here, that's fine. If your low lunge is here, that is absolutely perfect. Just work with your own body. Exhale, bring the arms all the way down to the ground. Last one, pivot back into half split. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come back into our lunge. We're going to tuck those back toes, lift that back knee, step back into downward facing dog. Take a moment here. Maybe there's a bit of movement, maybe there's a bit of stillness. And on your next inhale, we're going to ripple forward into a high plank. We're going to bring the knees down to the ground, untuck the toes. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga, keeping those elbows as close to the ribs as possible. Inhaling, coming into our cobra. See if we can roll the shoulders back, open up through the chest. Exhaling, lowering back down, tucking those toes. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Downward facing dog. Inhaling, sweeping the left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bringing that knee through, popping that left foot in between the hands. Drop that back, right knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, sweeping the hands all the way up. Maybe we can get a little bit deeper into that hip. Exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. I'm going to pivot back on the right knee this time. Half split on the left leg. So again, keep that little micro bend, Keep the toes pointing up towards the sky. Inhale, find that length through the spine, sticking out the bum, and exhale, coming down into that forward fold if it's available. And then inhale, coming back into low lunge, sweep those arms all the way up. Next exhale, bring the hands down to the ground, pivot back, half split. Pulling in that lower tummy, lifting the pelvic floor, keeping the breath flowing. Inhale, low lunge. Sweep those arms all the way up. Exhale, hands down to the ground, pivot back, half split. Inhale, come forward. Bring the hands either side of the foot, tuck those back toes, lift that back knee, step back into downward facing dog. Make whatever movement feels good in your body. Remembering to breathe. And then with your next inhale, we're going to ripple forward, high plank. Option to drop the knees and do half chaturanga. Exhale, lowering down, super steady. Inhale, lifting up, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look between the hands. Exhale, just lower the knees down to the ground, so back into our tabletop. Inhale, shine the heart forward. Exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, coming back to neutral position, and we'll sit back on our heels. Options here to bring either the hands to rest on the thighs, or you can bring a hand to the heart, hand to the tummy, or two hands to the heart, closing off the eyes, lengthening through the spine. Taking a moment to feel into any sensations that you might be able to feel in your body after that very short practice. Bringing your awareness to your breath, feeling your heart beating. Slow, steady breaths in all the way down to the tummy. And slow, steady breaths out. And then we'll gently flicker open the eyes with an inhale, sweep the hands all the way overhead, coming into Anjali Mudra. And exhale, hands to heart center. Bowing the head. Thank yourself for carving out this time to focus just on you, on your mind and your body. Thank you for practicing with me.